Welcome to Still Standing with Diane Six. I'm Diane, author of Step Into My Shoes, creator of the Still Standing method, and apparently a woman who has lived through enough bizarre moments to require both a podcast and possibly a support group. Have you ever walked into a room and immediately thought, something has happened here, and I may need legal counsel, essential oils, or both? Today's episode is about the time I showed up to teach a private yoga class and accidentally entered what I can only describe as a feline crime scene. Today's story comes from my book, Step Into My Shoes, and the chapter is called Diaper That. And yes, the title means exactly what you think it means. So back when I was teaching yoga in people's homes before the pandemic, I learned a lot. I learned patience. I learned flexibility, both the actual yoga kind and the emotional kind, where you keep smiling even when the dog is barking directly into someone's warrior two. I learned how to stay calm when someone passes gas in class and everyone pretends we're still deeply spiritual, which honestly is its own form of advanced practice. But nothing prepared me for this particular day. Have you ever walked into a room and immediately thought, something has happened here, and I may need legal counsel, essential oils, or both? Now, because I am polite and I ignore obvious problems for longer than is healthy, I tried to act normal. I went to our location and I set up my mat. I started breathing carefully. You know, how in yoga we say, inhale through the nose, exhale through the mouth. No, not that day. That day was more like inhale barely, regret immediately, exhale your will to live. I kept trying to stay in yoga instructor mode. Soft voice, gentle energy, don't panic, don't gag. But the smell got stronger and stronger. And then I saw it on the wall. I think it was a streak, maybe a splatter, definitely a situation, a full biological event. The cat had apparently decided that the wall was now part of the litter box experience, but I didn't see any litter box around. And it wasn't in a small, delicate, oops, I'm an old kitty kind of way. No, this was commitment. This was no pet accident. This was a cry for help. There was poop on the wall, down the wall, on the carpet, and into a pile that made me question everything I had ever believed about home wellness. And my client walked in the room completely calm, like nothing was happening, like it was just another Wednesday afternoon, like we were not standing inside an active crime scene with a yoga mat. She said something like this to me. Oh, he's old. Old? Ma'am, no. Old is forgetting where you put your glasses. Old is needing a softer chair. Or maybe calling the remote the clicker. This was not old. This was a hazmat situation with whiskers. At that point, my soul quietly left my body. I wanted to be professional. I also wanted to be compassionate. And I wanted to be the kind of yoga teacher who meets every moment with grace. But my chakras had filed a complaint. I started slathering essential oils on my hands like I was preparing for battle. Lavender, peppermint, anything I had in my yoga bag. If I could have crawled inside the bottle of eucalyptus and zipped it shut, I totally would have. Every inhale I did was for yoga. Every exhale was for survival. And the whole time I'm thinking, how am I supposed to guide someone into inner peace when there's cat poop happening 6 feet away? It's totally like a mural on the wall. Like, what is the cue here? Ground down through your feet unless you are near the carpet. Release what no longer serves you, except not literally, sir. Let your breath guide you, unless your breath is currently dangerous. And because I am me at some point, I considered adding a hazmat fee to my invoice for that session. Just a little line item. Private yoga session, $75. Travel fee, $10. Energetic support, complimentary. Catwalk trauma surcharge, priceless. But instead, I did the only sensible thing. I recommended cat diapers. Because honestly, once your cat is wall pooping, we are past the let's wait and see phase. We are no longer in denial. We are in infrastructure. That cat needed a system, and I needed a raise. Here's the funny thing. Well, not actually funny at the time. At the time, I was trying not to pass away face first on my yoga mat. But looking back, this story makes me laugh because it is such a perfect example how life does not care about the version of yourself you're trying to present. I walked in as calm yoga Diane, breathwork Diane, peaceful Diane, the woman who says things like, notice what comes up without judgment. And what came up? Cat poop. With judgment. Lots of judgment. But this is the thing. Real life has a way of interrupting the image. You could be trying so hard to be composed, polished, spiritual, professional, patient, evolved. And then life says, great, let's see how evolved you are when the room smells like a zoo bathroom. That's the test. Not when everything is beautiful, not when the candles are lit and the playlist is perfect. The test is something as absurd, uncomfortable, and awkward. It's completely out of your control as cat poop on the wall. And you still have to decide who you're going to be in the middle of all that. Am I proud of every thought that I had that day? Absolutely not. Would some of them be appropriate for a meditation retreat? No. But I stayed. I taught the class. I survived the smell. And I used enough essential oils that season to completely season a Thanksgiving turkey. And I learned something important. Some rooms are meant for yoga. Some rooms are meant for a crime scene investigator. And wisdom is knowing the difference. So what's the takeaway for you? Because I always love adding this. What does this mean? It means that sometimes life will hand you a moment that is so ridiculous, so uncomfortable, and so completely not what you signed up for that all you can do is breathe through it and laugh later. Maybe your version isn't cat poop yoga. Lucky you. Maybe your version is a family event that goes sideways. A work meeting that turns into a circus. A vacation that everything breaks. A holiday where someone brings drama instead of dessert. And in those moments, you get to remember this. You do not have to handle everything beautifully to handle it. You do not have to be graceful every single second. And you do not have to pretend that everything is fine when your whole nervous system is saying, absolutely not. Sometimes the win is simply staying present enough to get through it. Sometimes the win is recommending cat diapers with a straight face. And sometimes the win comes with wisdom when you realize the story you survive became the story you now tell on a podcast. That is what I love about these ridiculous moments that we have in life. They feel inconvenient when they happen, but later they become proof. Proof that you got through it all, that you can still laugh, and proof that even the weirdest parts of your life can still become meaning. Or, at the very least, a premium podcast content. So here's a question that I leave with you today. Think about what ridiculous, uncomfortable, or completely unexpected moment in your life taught you something about yourself. Maybe it taught you patience, boundaries, or maybe it taught you that you were funnier under pressure than you realized. Or maybe it taught you that some situations require grace, humor, and a very, very large bottle of lavender oil. Whatever it is, don't dismiss it just because it may be absurd. Sometimes the ridiculous moments are the ones that show up for us and make us who we are. Before we close, I want to invite you deeper into the still standing world. If today's story made you laugh, think, or remember one of your own stories, like you can't make this up moments, this is exactly why I created this work. My courses and books and meditations, the reflective tools, there's a whole still standing community all built around the chapters that we did not ask permission to change. The funny ones, the painful ones, the messy ones, the ones where you're trying to stay calm, but life is clearly testing the limits of your personality. You'll find all of that plus more freebies in stepintomyshoeshere.com. Thank you for being here with me for this episode of Still Standing with Diane Six. And let this be your reminder. You can be spiritual and still horrified. You can be calm and still need fresh air. You can be wise and still think, what the hell is actually happening? Life does not give us clean, beautiful candlelight moments. Sometimes it gives us cat poop on a wall. But if you can breathe, laugh, and keep going, you're still standing. Until next time, life splits. Life might even stink sometimes, and you can still stand.